Well, it's round 2 with Andy Partridge of XTC, and in this hour, we're going to count down my top 5 favorite XTC songs. So here we go.
Okay, drum roll.
I should do the Casey. At number 5 this week.
At number 5.
It's I Can't Own Her.
Ah. Well, I never. Well, that was a song I had to be persuaded to do.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, we're off to a good start here.
We're off to a start. I made a demo of this. I found a chord change. Because I'm pretty reasonably hot on the guitar, but I'm dreadful on the piano. Just a complete monkey on the piano. But I blundered into a chord change, the bam, ba-dum, bam, ba-dum, bam,
right.
da-dum, dum. I blundered into that, and I thought, wow, this is kind of not a million miles away from something that Burt Bacharach might play.
Mm.
You know, the interval is Johann Sebastian Bacharach, if you know what I mean. And also, it's not a million miles away from dear old Brian.
That's true.
Well, you know. So I thought, wow, this isn't a bad idea. And I made a demo of it where I just sort of found a kind of piano tone that had strings mixed in with it, like synthetic strings mixed in with it. And I thought, well, in lieu of kind of bothering to make a string arrangement or anything, I'll just hit this. And I played the demo, literally 1 or 2 chords at a time, dropping them in, you know, on record, 1 or 2 chords at a time, because I'm a rubbish piano player. And I finished the song off, and I thought, yeah, it's not bad. No, maybe, you know, maybe it's a B-side or something, you know, needs a proper arrangement. It's too lumpen as it is. And when working with Hayden Bendel, the arranger and engineer, who I thought was a good choice for Apple Venus, you know, because of all the orchestral side of things, which Dave and I argued about, because Dave did not want to make an orchestral record. But Hayden was a good choice on that. And I sent Hayden the demos, and I thought, well, he'll come back and he'll say, well, I like this one, I like this one, I don't like that one, da-da-da-da. And he came back with his choice, and I thought, okay. And then he said, and I also really, really like, and my favorite of all these songs is I Can't Own Her. And I said, oh, I don't know. I think there's much better ones than that. You know, I don't know. I think it's a bit of a B-side, a bit of a C-side. And he said, no, it's, you know, we can get this arranged beautifully. I just love it. You have to do this song. And so I agreed, because Hayden was so enthusiastic about it. He said it was his favorite. And Dave Gregory was supposed to do the string arrangement. You know, Dave and I would sit down and work these string arrangements through, like we did some of the stuff on Skylarking,
right? Like
1,000 Umbrellas or Dear God and whatever. That was Dave and I. You know, I'd say make it a bit more like that. No, because I can't write music. Dave can write music. That's white man's voodoo. I don't know what the hell that is. You know, that's just birds on wires to me. But Hayden said, you know, get Dave to arrange it, and you and Dave arrange it. It's going to be fantastic. But Dave was resisting arranging it because he didn't want to make this orchestral album.
Right.
He just put off arranging this thing. And it got to a point where he actually left the band, and, you know, we were too far down the road recording, and we had the basic piano and the kind of song sketched out, and we didn't have the string arrangement for it. And I think we'd even booked the orchestra in Abbey Road, Studio 1, the big A in the Life, damn room. And we had the orchestra, the 40-piece orchestra, and we had no arrangement. And it was like, what are we going to do, Hayden? You've put me in this spot now, you know. And he said, look, a friend of mine is a great arranger, and he owes me a favor. I'll ring him up. And it was Mike Batt. He was the most famous in England for being one of the Wombles, or writing the music for the Wombles. And if you don't know who the Wombles are, I'm not even going to go into it, but suffice to say they're furry creatures that pick up garbage. And it was a kids' program in the 70s. Okay. But he's most famous for writing the music for that. I thought, oh, my God, what are we getting into? We've got a few days to go, and we've got somebody who I don't know is being asked to arrange this music. And all I know he's done is kids' music for this sort of puppet series, you know. And he and I spoke over the phone, and I'd sit there with a guitar and my phone under my chin, and he'd sit there at a piano and his phone under his chin. And I'd say, oh, can you make this bit sound kind of rainy? Or no, you've got to get this interval. You've got to have that note in it, because the whole essence of the song is this note hanging over that note, because it's to me that sounds like the moon. The intro's got to sound like the moon, and the moon sounds like a C chord with an F sharp hanging over it, and stuff like that. And so we did it over a couple of sessions down the phone, him at his piano, me with the guitar. And then on the day of the recording the orchestra, he rushed into Abbey Road, the orchestra waiting there, violin bows in the air. And he said, look, I've only got 2 hours, and then I've got to rush off and catch a plane. And we had a couple of run-throughs, and imagine being in that room to start with, and then Sure. hearing something, one of your songs with an orchestra playing it. And the arrangement was wonderful. It literally took my breath away. Really, the hairs on the back of my eyeballs were standing up, you know. It was beautiful. And we then took the recordings away, edited them, you know, all the best bits together, best bits of the orchestra, because they make mistakes too, orchestras. Boy, do they make mistakes. Expensive mistakes when they make mistakes. And we put the vocals on it and finished it up. And I'm so glad that Hayden pestered me into doing it, because I think, I don't play my music to myself very often. You just don't do that.
Right.
But if I ever get to hear I Can't Own Her for Any Reason, my breath is still taken away. The beautiful swirling sky bits where I said I really want clouds and leaves blowing around, and Mike Batt just caught that so fantastically. So I'm glad that Hayden bullied me into doing that song.
We are counting down my personal top 5 favorite XTC songs of all time, featuring Andy Partridge's running commentary. And now we're up to number 4.
Go on, I'm on the edge of my golden palanquin here.
Right. This one might be a surprise. Extrovert.
Oh, the only song I've ever performed on record drunk. We were over in Woodstock and or just outside Woodstock and San Francisco, recording the Skylarking album in the mid-'80s. And things were not going well. Todd and I were fighting, and the atmosphere was so bad that I was not getting on with the other two. And Dave and Colin and I never fought we hardly ever fought in the studio. Sometimes in dressing rooms backstage, you'd have the odd verbal punch-up, but no, things tended to go pretty smoothly in the studio for us. And but things were going wrong because Todd's personality is a tricky thing to surmount, and he didn't want the song Extrovert on the album. And we had recorded everything else. All the vocals were done for everything else. So it was like, oh, okay, you might as well throw the vocal onto this song then. And it was like a sop to, okay, you can do this as a B-side, you know.
Right.
And I was pretty depressed. It was a mixture of depressed and, well, thank God I finished all the vocals, bar this one. I think I'll just get drunk. And I got drunk. And it was like, well, okay, come on, sing this song. And I thought, well, this actually may add to the kind of Stanislavski, who was the actor with the method, you know?
Yeah,
was
the method singing is what you were doing. Yeah, Stanislavski. Yes.
It's Stanislavski. It might add to some of that kind of thing, you know? Because it's supposed to be a song about feeling extroverted, not introverted. And I got nicely drunk and went and belted this out. And I don't know whether that added to the kind of grrr of it.
The gravitas of it.
Yeah, the gravitas of it. But I know the few times I'd attempted to sing under the influence in the past, you know, you come in the next day and bin it, it's awful. But for some reason it seemed to suit Extrovert. It was one of the... Todd tended to pick the songs for the albums that were... he had an idea about... he wanted to make this concept album about, a day starting from the morning to the night, and then the darkest part just before the dawn again, or a life, a birth, a life, a death, you know. And so he picked all the songs that he thought went into what he called the circle. And this and most of the other ones I wrote didn't fit his circle. Lucky for Colin, I think Colin wrote something like 7 songs, and I think Todd picked 5 of them.
Right.
And then I wrote something like 30-odd songs, and he, you know, just picked I'm not too sure how many of mine he picked, something like 8 or 9 of them to go on there. And we didn't get on too well, Todd and I, to say the least. He did a fantastic job with his arrangements, though, but he was difficult to work with. I'd be totally honest about that. It was not pleasurable in any way. But he did a great job. Great drumming from Prince on that. I'd almost forgotten about that. Prairie just really pummels his kit. It's great Extrovert drumming.
All right, number 3.
Okay.
Number 3. Ba-dum. Well, this is an obvious one in a way. The Mayor of Simpleton.
Okay, this had a long and torturous... sometimes I can write a song in 5 minutes to an hour to a few hours. This one had a long and torturous thing, I think, over the course of like a year or something. It had a kind of cod reggae feel. It had a sort of slightly African-y high life feel. I just couldn't seem to get it to click. And I think the original melody went something like... something like that, you know.
Right.
And I ended up singing somebody else's song there. Like, what song was I singing?
Oh, no, it's like a Freddie and the Dreamers song or something.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. But I discovered, and hang on, I've got a guitar over here. I can show you what kind of opened it up for me.
An exclusive performance, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go.
Hardly. An elusive performance. Right. I like it. Hang on. I said, where to put the phone? Because I'm not going to... Yeah, there you go. It was when I found this... that little figure.
Right.
And I thought, ooh, that's so appealing. That's almost, dare I say it, like something buried in the mix of Don't Fear the Reaper, right. You know. And I put this track down with this kind of fast drum, this and the that figure, right. Which I'll have to, can't play it too loud because the neighbor's going to complain. Right. Okay, but at that speed. And I thought, oh yeah, got to have a bass line that's going to weave in and out of that, something, what would Bach have done?
Right.
And so I came up with the bass line,